you she's called a ball python. The reason they call these guys ball pythons is in the wild, when they're resting, they curl up into a ball on tree branches. Sometimes she does that on my arm while we're doing talks like this, kind of depends on how she's feeling. So Amy here is one of the bigger ball pythons we have at the zoo. A little heavier, a little longer than the other ones we have. Now, this is a snake that does not hunt with venom. She's what we call a constrictor snake, which means they squeeze when they hunt their food. Very nice and quiet for me. Okay, I know you want to touch it, but if we're going to get to touch the snake, I need all eyes on me, all eyes up here, voices off, so I can tell you the rules of touching our animals so we can do it safe. When we touch zoo animals, we do what we call a two-finger touch. So you'll show me two fingers like this, and you'll go gentle down her back. We don't squeeze her. We don't pull on her tail. We don't try to poke her in the face. That doesn't end well for anybody. And how we're going to do this to make this a little easier on Miss Amy and a little bit easier on everybody else, I will stand over by the door and we'll get to touch her on our way out. So you'll line up when we get ready to leave and you'll get to touch Miss Amy on your way out the door. And now after you touch her, you can't put your fingers in your mouth. You can't put your fingers in your eyes or up your nose. Because we need to be sure we clean our hands. So I've got some hand cleaner here. After you touch Amy, you'll get a little squirt of the cleaner. Rub your hands together. And before you have dinner tonight, please be sure you wash your hands good with soap and water. You do good. You should always do that. It's a good way to stop from getting sick. Okay, I see I have a couple of questions. I'll do a couple of questions before we get started with the touching. Yep. How old is she? Amy is about 12 years old. So she's a good adult-sized snake. Yep. How long do they live? Ball python like Amy, typically they live around 25 years, but there's some variation. How do I know their names? Okay, the way I know their names is all of the snakes we use on our talks live in their own special homes at the zoo with their nameplate on their homes. They've also got their name on the pillowcases. Oh, that's okay. She also has her name on the pillowcase I bring her out in. Just in case I ever forget. Not that I think I would forget a lovely lady like this. Okay, good. Okay, everyone nice and quiet for me. So, this young lady was asking, how do I know that this is a girl snake and not a boy snake? People who are better with reptiles than I am can look inside the snake's body through the opening called the cloaca. And if they look inside the cloaca, they can tell if they've got boy parts or girl parts. Now, I don't know how to do that on reptiles. I'm more of a bird and mammal guy. Those are my favorites. But people who have studied reptiles can check that way to see if a snake is a boy or a girl. I don't recommend doing that on your own, though. Very nice. Okay, good question. So this young man asked, does Amy squeeze her food? Now, in the wild, she definitely would. She squeezes me pretty good sometimes here. But at the zoo, she gets fed food that's already dead, so she doesn't have to squeeze it to kill it. Most of the time, she'll just grab on with her mouth, and swallow it down whole. So she doesn't have to squeeze her food after it. How does she lay eggs? So, not different from most other animals. The eggs are inside their body once they're fertilized. Now the eggs don't come out the mouth, the eggs come out the cloaca. So a cloaca is an opening you have on birds and reptiles, and that's where everything comes out. That's where eggs come out, that's where bathroom stuff comes out. Same thing with these guys. Okay, good question. So everyone nice and quiet so I can answer so we can all learn together.